Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre. This is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication.
It's over 9,000!
My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there.
Don't face me, bro! It's a trap! I'm a fire in my labor! Time to Hey, Charlie, wake up! Oh, God, oh, man!
Nerds You Know Basis Show, airing on Phoenix 92.5 FM and all those other wonderful places like our brand new YouTube channel. And thank you for your continued interest in it. I am Cian, and with me this week is Kev. Kev, how you doing?
I am doing well, Cian. How are things with you?
Just been up Killiney Hill, hiding under a tree from the rain. So, you know, good.
A normal Killiney Hill walk.
That's just it, exactly. Now, we've got a fair bit to cover this week, and no Dara, as far as I know. Is he in Vegas this week, or where do you know where he is geographically?
No, I think he's stuck in a hole. From what I remember him telling me, Horrenda had an EP launch there last night, as we're recording this, and according to the group chat, he drank far too much whiskey and is just kind of like drowning in his sorrows.
If you happen to find him under a table, please stick something with a Zoom link in his hand and get him on here.
And yeah, give him a phone with a Zoom link and another whiskey. He'll be flying.
Yeah. And as for Katie, it is balloon season. I'm sure she'll pop up at some point.
Is that a pun?
Is it?
Cian, balloons pop up.
Oh my God. I didn't realize you became a dad. Dad jokes actually got into your brain, whether you meant it or not. That's fascinating. I don't know.
Is this just what turning 30 is?
Oh God. Well, then in that case, I've had this is a very delayed effect because I'm nearly 34.
You need to do some catching up. I don't even intend on having kids, and you got to get on my level.
Oh, God. All right. Well, we've got a jam-packed episode this week anyway. We have movies, good and bad. We have news, gaming and otherwise. We have mad retro gaming projects things for no other reason than I have some weeks off. But I believe you want to lead with some big Japanese manga culture news. So,
I wanted to talk about this with you because I think a lot of even I think our kind of friendship is founded on that the two of us are quite big fans of My Hero Academia.
Oh, let's dive into it then, because for those who don't know, me and Kev used to work in a bookshop, and your crowning achievement of the shop was cultivating the manga section in the back of our bookshop. Ordering it in, keeping everything stocked, and then recommending titles to me. And I have quite a healthy collection thanks to you. So, yeah, I think our shared weebiness is a huge factor in the birth of this podcast, yes.
Absolutely. And part of that was part of, I think, again, my own interest in manga and, and going back to as you mentioned, the shop, part of why that scheme I kind of managed worked so well was because of the just absolutely explosive success of My Hero Academia and what it did for modern shonen consumption.
Trying to talk about modern anything anime or manga without mentioning Hero Academia is like trying to talk about modern adult comedies without referencing The Simpsons. It's too much the big gateway thing,
Yeah, and all this to say, the reason we're talking about this at all is because just this past week, the My Hero Academia manga, which has been going on for 10 years, more at this point, has finally concluded. The final chapter just released through Shonen Jump, and it's over now.
Which
Now I
is kind of
haven't.
mad to think about, isn't it?
It is, and it isn't. For just to kind of establish, I have not read it, and you actually don't read the manga at all. You watch the anime,
I
if I'm
I
correct.
I flicked through the manga in the shop. Now, as we
Hmm.
discussed off the air there, I did collect the My Hero Academia Vigilante spin-off, because I had a feeling that wouldn't get a TV adaptation. But
Which
I will read it once it's released in multi-volumes like Death Note or Evangelion. But currently the best offer is to buy I'm not sure if you've seen this in Easton's, a literal treasure chest that has the first 20 volumes, which I don't even know where I'd fit that in my house.
Oh, you
Uh,
think that's crazy? One Piece has about 6 of those out right now, with more to
I'm not
come.
sure if you've ever seen this, but it always makes you think of Garth Marenghi, where he like, have you ever seen him?
I know bits. I've never seen Dark Place,
He's
but I've
like a
heard I'd
Stephen
love it.
King-esque author, and he's like,
Yeah.
as a special offer, he has included all of his books as one book, and it's the length of a wall. And if you buy it, it comes with its own shelf. Like,
It
that's how
reminds
I
me of.
feel about My Hero Academia. When it's done and old enough that they release multi-volume things at a slightly cheaper price, I'll definitely get it, because one thing I know is in the Vigilantes that's also in the original comics is the little notes in between each chapter about how the characters were
Yes.
drawn and all that kind of stuff. I get them just for those, like, you know?
Oh, 100%. Like that's as much as because like the way I'd recommend a lot of people probably go for it is the Shonen Jump app. We're not sponsored, but I cannot recommend that as a service enough.
Mm.
It is all of the Shonen Jump back catalog like available online for like £3 a month.
Mm.
It's nothing, and you get all of One Piece, all of Hero Academia, all the Jujutsu Kaisen, all of Dragon Ball, and then just like everything else in that back catalog. It's an absolutely insane value proposition, and up to date. So you can go on read the entirety of Hero Academia on that now. But I have been sticking with buying the volumes as they release, which puts me probably about a year or two behind it. Like I think there's probably still about maybe 3 or 4 volumes left to be released of what's there, and they space them out by about 3 months at a time. But as you say, the annotations and the editing that are done, actually they'll even adjust for quality in some circumstances. Like, do you remember the school concert? I think it was in season 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Gentleman Thief and all that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They in the original publication in Shonen Jump the magazine, when they're doing the concert, because it's this big emotional climax for Kyoka, the girl with the earphone jacks.
Mm.
He admitted it in, again, one of those inter-chapter interstitials where he was very stressed. Horikoshi was very stressed by time. Had like what would be the kind of the big crescendo of it in the manga, which is this big page spread of like her screaming into the microphone.
Yeah.
And on in the original publication of the magazine, that was 1 page. It was great. It was a bit rough, but it was big when they put it into the volumes, into the released Tankaban volumes. He was delighted because they got to actually go back, re-edit that, clean it up a lot, and then give it a full 2 page spread.
Yeah.
Which, when you turn a page and like get hit with that, it felt huge.
But see, that's
So
why I'm waiting for like a multi-volume, because like the Death Notes, not only is it all of the things collected in 6 volumes, but like you also get, for the very big emotional moments, you'll occasionally get these big splashes of 2 page colored in like things for variety, and like it makes the experience a lot better, like, you know.
Oh yeah, and like I'm looking at it right now. Like there is something about having a full collected manga just sitting on a shelf that just
Oh,
really lightens the
absolutely.
room
Yeah.
up.
I was delighted when Vigilante finished up for that reason, like, you know.
But yeah, no, as I said, I haven't read it, but it back to what you'd said earlier, talking about the fact that it's been out for about 10 years, and that it kind of feels crazy that it's over. The wild thing is that Horikoshi never expected it to go on this long.
Mm. 。
When he started publishing it, he was like, "This is going to be, you know, 150 chapters, in and out, fun little superhero story. And obviously, its popularity was part of why it kept going. Like a combination of the world kind of being able to be expanded, and his editor probably being like, "Well, we gotta, keep making money on this." So that's what I say. Like it is wild that it's gone now, having been around for so long, but it was always kind of a time limit.
Well, we kind of covered that because I think maybe around this time last year, we discussed the most recent series of My Hero Academia, the anime, and I had mixed feelings on it, and you had stronger feelings on it, having been up to date. So yeah, I mean, it's still good, but it does feel like there was an ending point, and then they curved into now here's a subplot about some drug runners. Here's a all training thing. Here's this, here's that. Like which none of it was bad, but it definitely felt like the pace slowed a little bit in terms of the major arcs. Like
Yeah, and it felt like there was a slowed pace, and then at a certain point, it was like, oh, we have to finish this. This has
yeah.
to end, and we gotta play catch up and really get to this.
Mm.
Like, because there's a season the season there's the new season anime is currently airing now. Are you watching it as it comes out, or are you waiting for it all to finish?
No, I'm gonna wait until at least half is out there, especially based on because the last season, my major objection with it was one big fight, which fair enough. Good old battle animes need those Dragon Ball length fights, but it was getting to the stage where almost 3 minutes of the episode was from the previous, and so like imagine doing that week to week, where it's like the first half of your episode is something you've already seen. Like it's kind of taxing, like.
Oh, you have to tell me. I watched One Piece for a long time, and
Well, then
there is
yes,
a
yes.
there is a portion of that around like Dressrosa and Fishman Island where I think maybe you get 10 minutes of new episode per episode. The pacing was abysmal. uh,
What's the itchy and scratchy ad thing? 63% new footage.
that hey for One Piece, that's generous.
All right. Well, obviously we don't know how it's going to end, unless I suppose you might have had it spoiled. But my question
but like
then is,
for just my own kind of like PSA, tag your spoilers on Twitter. Some people
yeah.
seem to be allergic to doing that.
Well, yeah, because if people put a spoiler in, it'll get less eyeballs,
That's great, but then you're just being a jerk.
People are jerks.
Why?
But I bring all this up because you have read presumably beyond where season 6 of My Hero Academia ends.
Yes.
So what are your feelings on being in as far as you are into the manga? Do you think it's kind of holding up, or
holding up? But even where season 6 ended, with Deku kind of going back out to the world, and I think that season 6 ended with Stars and Stripes showing up, the American hero.
Right.
Like you could see the writing on the wall at the end of season 6 that we're in the wrap up, and where season 7 is going is the finale. And it's prolonged, but it's ending. They are wrapping up threads quick and fast. So as I said, I've maybe got 60, 70 chapters I think left. But like they are wrapping things up hard and fast. So it's to be determined the quality once, we're still in the midst of an ending.
Right.
So it's hard to make a judgment call.
Okay. Do you think the original characters are being well served then in that case?
You know what? It's such a fascinating thing because I do still love it, but as it went on, I do feel like it became a victim of its own success in certain circumstances, because I actually ended up watching a retrospective, or starting watching a retrospective, on YouTube by a YouTuber called Totally Not Mark, and basically it's just kind of going over, summarizing the first couple of seasons, and I'm watching clips of it, and it's really just bringing back the magic of why I think I fell in love with this show.
Yeah,
and it's like between its kind of creative use of like of superhero and superheroes. Especially at a time that was, the height of the MCU.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that was a big thing. But also just the sheer variety of characters and how all of them were super distinctive. And I think as time went on, we actually kind of lost that because the story kept kind of having to narrow focus onto the most important and, to degrees, the most popular. Like,
yes,
where we got introduced to all 30 odd members of the Class 1A. As the story went on, it really just kind of and it's the Todoroki Bakugo Deku story.
Yeah, it's what's Endeavor's the workplace experience. Oh, look, it's Deku, Bakugo, and Icy Hot. What an odd coincidence that the three most popular ended up in a big arc together.
Exactly. So
you'd think if it was sorted by the school, you'd have one of the randos, the guy with the tail, in there by sheer probability.
Yeah, that's why and there's flashes of it. That's why I think I love the concert so much, is because it focuses so much on a character we did really get to know a lot of in Kyoto. And that was just this big moment that was on her that in and out, and it wasn't focusing on a character that's been beaten to death right now. And we've just been losing that.
Yeah, it reminds me of, and this isn't an example I necessarily am fond of, but it reminds me of when it gets to near the end of Harry Potter, where in books 6 and 7, it's got so little to do with the school that it doesn't feel like it's even the same series anymore.
Well, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that,
because
I think that's because I think that seems to be a problem with kind of any form of fiction focusing on a school, in that it kind of forgets about the school aspect. And My Hero Academia does completely fall into that.
We both played the Fire Emblem Three Houses thing. And the fun part about that, from beginning to end, was being in a school, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was the sense of organization was pretty fun.
If it was just a standard fighting thing, it would become a lot of other games that are out there, and that goes for battle anime as well.
But even Three Houses, after the time skip, the school is more just a base of operations and not a school.
Yes, but you still have to organize training sessions day to day. It's not that entire aspect of it falls off.
That's fair. But yeah, no, it reminded all to say, it reminded me of of how bright and brilliant and exciting it was. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, having just not read the ending. And I'm just what I'm fascinated in right now is that we seem to be in another transitional period now for Shonen Jump, which has always kind of been the center of conversation in terms of anime popularity, because as we stand now, most of the most popular things that were in publication are over or ending. So Demon Slayer finished production a few years ago now, and its anime is still kind of dominating anime release schedules. Hero Academia would have been probably the second most popular thing in the publication, under One Piece, and that's over now. And by all accounts, Jujutsu Kaisen is ending this year, but also its quality has kind of taken a nosedive in recent chapters.
Sorry, Jujutsu Kaisen?
Do you know? I've got to have told you about this.
Remind me of the general premise of it. Also, I apologize. If you're hearing beeping, my son has just come in to play with the dehumidifier, which is his current favorite toy.
Gotta make that room dry, kid.
That's just it. Yeah, on and off. And off. As we're talking about him.
It's a kind of a horror action manga about a group of high school teenagers going and fighting. Could be anything. Going to fight curses and demons.
Right, gotcha.
Kind of around central Tokyo. its first half is incredible. It
Mm.
much like Demon Slayer, it blends effective horror with just superb action. And the anime definitely kind of like takes it up just a notch.
Mm.
But it's fallen again into that trap of just having way too elongated fight scenes
Mm.
that just kind of like drag the pacing down. But anyway, all to say that like it is still one of the most popular things on Shonen Jump right now that is coming to a close. And what like all this to say is that like we're now in another transitional period, much like the previous generation of your big three, your One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, where Naruto and Bleach ended, and there was kind of a breath there of, well, what's next from the publication?
And can I say,
What's
it is
next?
nice that things are ending. Like, you don't want the same stories dominating the market forever. Like, you know.
Oh no, it is, but it's always kind of like fascinating to see what the next trend will be.
Mm.
Now, obviously, that's not to say that Shonen Jump has nothing when all this is over. One Piece, although it is claimed to be ending, I'd say we've confidently
I honestly
confidently
think
another
Game of Thrones
5
is going to
years of One
end
Piece.
for One Piece at this rate.
Hey, listen, as somebody out in the front lines of the One Piece war, it is ending. They are like it is coming. Things are happening.
Oh, they're coming. The dragons are on their way.
It's we're what's that over the horizon? 5,000 miles away. We're coming. So like yeah, we've still got One Piece, which is definitely going to bankroll that.
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man has pivoted from being a pulpy action series to something more akin to a Tarantino or like movie or an Alan Moore comic.
Well, it
which
wasn't
is
too
just-
far off that to begin with. Like, at least not based on
yeah.
anime, which
Yeah,
has
but like
references every Tarantino film.
But yeah, like that's the action is taking a backseat in that one for pure character drama, and people hate it. I love it.
I'm here for that. Yeah. Like, I
and then
mean,
there's
just to kind of segue into like back to Hero Academia, like I really like the Vigilante spin-off, but it broke my heart that from a 15 book series, the last 6, come on, Oscar, sorry, the last 6 were just a fight. Because you wait 6 months and you read it and it's just a fight, and it's like a fight's a fight, you know. Give me character stuff every day of the week.
And that, the funny thing about Vigilantes, which I'd actually, if you like Hero Academia at all, I would thoroughly recommend to go and read it. Because what I think drew me into that was that it had a very episodic structure for the first like half of its run, where it would be 2 to 3 chapters at a time that are small arc, go fight the bad guy, learn a little bit more about this neighborhood, and just kind of rinse and repeat that formula. And you always kind of just got this broader sense of what was going on in Naruhara.
Mm. Yeah, and it's like because like something I've got mixed feelings on in Hero Academia is it promises that Deku, this guy with no powers, will somehow go on a journey to be the world's most powerfulest ever. But after a certain point, he does just become a hero as strong as everyone else. But Vigilante stuck with that pretty much from beginning to end. He learns some new powers, but he doesn't become vastly powerful. He's pretty much like one of those people you'd send out to kind of draw the enemy's fire from beginning to end, like.
Yeah, like for those who don't know, the main character, I can't even remember his name actually off the top of my head. But his superpower is that he can basically use his hands and feet to hover slightly off the ground.
Well, his superhero name is the Crawler, but because no one understands him, they call him the Cruller.
Yes. And like he'll use that to kind of like just scurry along, kind of slide around. And it's not that becomes an inherently powerful superpower as time goes on. It's just that the writers get pretty creative with what like the circumstances of that power can achieve.
Yes, exactly. I apologize. I'm just literally. This is what we did in the days before Google. I'm literally grabbing the book off the shelf. Koichi.
Koichi, yes.
And like, it's like you hit the nail on the head there because for the most part, it's very small stories. It's like you get little glimpses of like where what's his name? Like, is it Splinter or the hero killer guy come from? And like this is how long it's been since I've read Hero Academia. The nullifying power guy is in it in the background, like, but by and large, it's not like it's this big story. It's the concerns of it are pretty small from beginning to end. And
Oh yeah, no, it's all about the fate of this one suburb of like downtown Tokyo. It's
exactly,
not the
and
fate of the world.
it's some of the villains just open a cafe. Like it's
Yeah,
and there's a big section of the arc which is just about them running a like a talent show to celebrate the opening of a supermarket. Like
it's got a
it's so restrained compared to Hero Academia that's quite refreshing. Like
yeah, like it's far more strained than it, but it's got a similar vibe
yes.
to JoJo's Part Four.
Oh
Diamond
yes,
Unbreakable.
that's a good point of comparison. The weird
Again,
town kind of angle, yeah.
not nearly as batshit, but
Oh well, look, let's not
like
undersell it. Like, there's random villains every other chapter, and we have mentioned this before. Thomas the Tank Engine is just a villain. They have to take out one of the issues. Like,
one of the three train based villains in that series.
exactly, yes. So, like, it's not like this is like a grittier reimagining. It's still bonkers. We haven't even
Oh yeah,
gotten into Captain USA or whatever the Captain Celebrity, whatever he's called.
Captain Spectacular or something. Yeah,
Yeah. Proof that anime and manga can take the worst possible character and make you like him.
by by giving him just an angry little wife.
Yes. Oh my god. Forgot about that.
I'm never astonished. What I'm never not astonished by is that this hasn't been adapted yet.
That
Especially with Hero Academia like on its way out,
I
that they didn't
wonder
pull the
if that'll be the
ripcord.
way they go then. Yeah, I assume that this story was too small for an anime. But then again, like, you have broadened my palette a bit, and we did see
Yeah.
that talk at the convention we were at 2 weeks ago, which was all about the sort of the romantic animes and games and all that kind of stuff. Like, so yeah,
Yeah,
I know there is an audience for anime that isn't necessarily fight of the week type thing. Like,
there's an anime on air right now about a girl with deer horns starting a deer club in a high school. Nothing is too small for
I've seen a
anime.
viral clip going around of someone
That's the
dancing
one.
in front of a deer. Is that what that's from?
That's what that's from.
Right. Okay. Because like I'm fairly saturated in my Japanese media, but even that one I kind of went, okay,
I
it's
think
getting
I
a
think
bit
it's called
beyond me now.
Kodo Noko. There's another it's side recommendation. There's another anime out right now about a VTuber who gains massive popularity by forgetting to turn off her stream after she ended it, getting blackout drunk and talking about how horned up she is for other VTubers.
Well, I mean that's your classic YouTube drama, isn't it?
It's great. It's absolutely spectacular.
I mean, I'm glad that between that and the Dragon Maid one, there is a huge market for anime and manga, which begins with character got drunk and story.
It's relatable to me, somebody in their 30s who likes to drink alone at home.
Well, then, I know we're spending a lot of time on My Hero Academia, but were you satisfied with how the Vigilante spin-off ended?
Yes. I think overall, yes. I do think it got a little too big for its britches at some point.
Yeah.
Like you said, that fight, like the fight with the speedster, went on for about 6 volumes.
It's only 15.
So long.
Like,
Yeah,
a
6 out of 15
When are
volumes.
they getting to the fireworks factory vibes?
And by the time you hit the giant exploding kaiju, you're like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
This could have ended
Especially because, like,
ago.
maybe if I read these all like together, like I did with Death Note or Evangelion or one of those, I wouldn't have cared as much. But like, if you have to wait 6 months for one of these, and no plot is progressed, it does kind of get a bit infuriating, you know?
Yeah, I'd be curious to see of somebody who maybe was reading it chapter by chapter, week to week, getting that like steady drip feed, if that was any better with the pacing. But yeah, as I said, like overall, I do think it ended pretty strongly.
Yeah.
I won't say
Like, it
how,
felt like a
because
nice without giving it away. It felt like everyone kind of got the ending they needed, but it didn't like end with them becoming famous like so and so's that changed the world. It just felt like they all got what they deserved in life. Like,
yeah, I think that's fair to say.
but
Um,
wait, I only bring that up because do you think, based on how that ended, I know they're two different writers, but do you think, based on how Vigilante ended, you will find the end of My Hero Academia satisfying?
hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say until I see it. Um,
But you must have
there,
like an idea, based having read it for so long. Like, not maybe not necessarily what happens, but if you think it will be like worth the wait.
I don't like. I mean, it's. I never find with fiction. It's like it's about in the eternal words of Lightning McQueen. It's not about the destination. It's a journey to get there.
Oh, thank you, Owen Wilson, as a car.
Changed my life. Like that's it. It's you know the ending will be its conclusion, but like the what I will always cherish is the time it took me to get there.
Yes. Okay, well, that's a really good note to wrap that
Yeah.
on. I get you.
Now,
Yeah.
time I did not cherish. Kian, have you heard about this Mean Girls movie?
Did you script that segue before we started?
I've always got a plan.
I imagine you at home or at work, and like just inspiration strikes, and you write it down on a post-it, and where you just like speaking of high school drama.
Kian, what can I say? I'm a trained podcaster.
Well, I've been doing this longer than you, and I can't do that. Well, anyway,
You got to flex those podcast
question.
muscles. You got to do 30 pod reps.
Oh God, but I have not seen the movie, but funnily enough, I have heard a fair few of the songs because I work in like um a place where we do dance, drama, singing, all that kind of stuff. So I know the songs, and I was aware based on this podcast that they were releasing a Mean Girls musical and not telling anyone it was a Mean Girls musical.
Yeah,
And
it was
I know
falling on
Sarah
that.
Z did a video on it a while back as well. So I haven't seen it, but I am kind of saturated in it a little bit. Like,
Yeah, it fell under that kind of like there was a run there where there was a handful of musicals coming out, but nobody was advertising them as musicals,
yeah.
like this and Wonka. The only musical I've seen recently that's been advertised as a musical is Joker 2, and that's nuts.
Well, give Matilda its due. It's that came out the gates like with all the songs and the ads and all that.
Yeah,
So,
see, the issue there was Netflix just doesn't advertise things.
but this is true. Yeah.
But much the same way I'll watch most anything these days. I came home one day and there front and center on the Paramount Plus app was the new Mean Girls movie. I was like, well, I'm not going
It's
to
on
a cinema
Paramount
to
Plus,
see
is
it.
it?
Yeah, that's exactly how I watched it.
Holy moly.
And I have to say, it's awful. It's bad. Like, okay, because you have Mean Girls from the Lindsay Lohan from the 2000s, cult classic. Was not designed to be as big of a cultural hit as it is.
No, it's a comedy. It's a small comedy about characters that are relatable. Like,
yeah. And then several years later, much like truly anything these days, it gets adapted to a Broadway musical. And the Broadway musical has its cult fans. Some songs are great. Most songs are forgettable. What's the Regina George one? Apex Predator. Apex Predator is a banger. Popular is pretty good too.
I was going to say, I get that mixed up. I was trying to think, is that from Wicked or is that the Mean Girls?
Popular is from Wicked. I think there is another one in Mean Girl about being popular, other than Apex Predator. But Wicked is
confusing having
popular.
Wicked, Heathers, and this in the same decade. Like, you're going to get overlaps on songs. Like,
But that's it. Like the Mean Girls, the theater musical has its own fan base, and it is
Mm,
like relatively distinct from the original by nature
yes.
of just being a stage play. There's adaptations to the form. So what they've decided to do here is make a movie of the stage play,
In the
but
producer's fashion, yes.
also cast several characters from the original movie in their original roles.
In their
Like Tina Fey,
original roles.
no, none of the major characters, but Tina Fey is still like the teacher, and oh god, I don't know the
Principal.
actor, but he's yeah, the principal's the same guy.
Okay, because like surely in like as established by the Wednesday Netflix thing, it will be more clever to get the likes of Lindsay Lohan or Rachel McAdams back to be the teacher or something like that.
Nah,
Or yeah,
nah.
or maybe yeah, since they're the
So
right
here's the
ages now.
and it's bad. I can't get over it because it's really trying to find a place in between both of these mediums and failing at both of them
Right.
because
Which
it
I don't
doesn't.
get. Like, if you're gonna go to all the time and expense to make a musical, why not make it? You know what I mean? Like, why go halfway with this?
I don't know. I don't actually know. It confounded me as I watched it
Mm,
because in terms of it as a production of the musical, the cinematography is nowhere near competent enough
right.
in like its framing and its choreography to be anything worthwhile of a musical. You know, compared to something like West Side Story, where you have these huge dance numbers and dance ensembles that like kind of adapt the feel of a stage show into a filmic language. This
Yes.
does not have that. This just has a handful of background extras trying to act. It's poor, and not helped by the fact that some of the leads actually cannot sing.
But like that's even weirder because I mean, now maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I know, they didn't get any big like A-list celebrities to be the leads in this, did they?
Not anyone like exceptionally well known, but I think like they are known entities.
Okay.
Like that's yeah. I'm looking Renee. I know I've heard the name Renee Rapp before, who's
Okay.
Regina George. Actually, well, I'll give her credit. She actually was quite good.
Okay.
She like had she was able to kind of carry Regina George and also sing. Not on her. No, and no. Andrew Rice, who plays Katie, isn't just could not carry it.
Which
Uh,
character's Katie now? It's been a while since I've seen
the
it.
main one, Lindsay Lohan.
Okay, gotcha. My next guess would have been the one who thinks she can tell the weather by, well, you know.
That's yeah. No, I couldn't even like. That's from there. Then it just all the rest of them just kind of fell through like wet paper. I could not tell you a distinctive thing about it.
So,
Um,
okay, but it's not like as good as the original, but like what
and
is
that's
actively bad about it? Like,
well, no, that's the thing. So it failed. It falls apart in the musical aspect by having worse versions of the songs people already know and can listen to actively,
okay.
and then also as a reinterpretation of the original movie, it then tries to make big monumental scenes about the things that made the movie a cult classic. You know,
So it's
the
basically trying to remake two similar but different things at the same time.
yeah, and failing at both of them.
Right.
Like it's the thing that baffles me anytime they try to remake a cult classic because what made it
Hmm.
cult was how kind of like audiences pick up on different things.
Yeah.
The oh what's the line where she turns around and asks what time it is? 5:30, October 3rd.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. The meme, yes.
That's yeah, like that like that was kind of a throwaway, just kind of like
What is
joke
it
in the
like
original.
Wednesday, October 3rd or something like that?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
throw a pretty throwaway joke that people kind of latched onto in the original.
yeah.
They put bells and whistles on that in this one, and it's just like, come on,
So
guys.
they're leaning into the sort of the cult status of it, like.
Yeah, it's full jangling keys in front of a baby. Like, you look, this the thing you like. Look at it.
Okay.
Um, I made it 30 minutes in and couldn't stop, and then had to stop.
And can I ask, did they, because like Mean Girls, the original, has come under some scrutiny for not necessarily aging well on some aspects of it. I won't go into specifics, but the people who know. Had in the half an hour you saw, did they update or change anything of any of the slightly less scrupulous aspects of it?
Not that I noticed. I wasn't really kind of even looking. Like, if they did, they didn't really do anything about it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, no, it's yeah, it is probably the worst movie I've seen this year.
Now that is a bold statement. I kind of want to watch it now.
It's not even fun bad.
No?
I was sitting with my fiance and we sat trying to riff on it, and at about the 30-minute mark, we were just like, this is just not fun.
This isn't worth me getting upset about.
Yeah, like that's it, and you know what? It might be that it was on streaming, so I could just easily pick up a button and just say no, click. But I might have even like if I had paid for it, I might have even still walked out.
Okay, wow. And not for any like
Um,
particularly outrageous reasons or anything.
no, it was just bad and kind of dull, and then trying to point out its best features, which were just bad.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Kind of riding on the coattails, like.
yeah, and like I think it's especially jarring because in a much similar vein of that sort of high school, like culty, dark high school
Mm.
teen comedy. The 80s had Heathers, the early
Yeah.
2000s had Mean Girls. We've kind of gotten our next generation of that in Bottoms, which I think is one of the best movies I've seen in years.
Yes, you have been raving about that a fair bit, yeah.
And that's like, and I'm looking at this and like, we live in a world post Bottoms. What does this have to contribute?
Well, I mean, the comparison is worthwhile because we live in a generation. Obviously, remakes have always existed. Let's not pretend that they haven't.
Yeah.
But like nostalgia is a much bigger force now than it's ever been, like.
Yeah, but even that, like, this fails. This falls sorely on its ass. Even attempting
I
nostalgia.
remember actually seeing the ads for this on like the 46A buses, like the big kind of T-shaped posters, and getting the vibe. They are embarrassed to advertise this.
Yeah, like that's yeah. It has no confidence in itself, and why should I have confidence in it? And
Yeah,
like, I'm not
exactly.
immune to nostalgia. I just saw Wolverine and Deadpool and was giddy with glee watching it.
Yes.
Nostalgia, I can live in nostalgia if it's good.
Mm. Well then, by the way, how much time do we have left?
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. I know you want to talk about weird. Can I quickly pitch my weird projects?
I'll happily let you pitch this.
Okay, so I'm a teacher, which means that in August I cannot find work even if I look for it. So my little project in between parenting two little ones is I have gotten the Switch like extra paid network thing. Do you know the name of it off the top of your head?
I think it's called Nintendo Switch Online.
Nintendo Switch Online, thank you. And in which you get all of the old like Nintendo consoles, like the entertainment system, the Nintendo 64, the Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo, all that jazz, and one Sega thing I haven't played because like Dara's gonna have to hear me say I haven't played it. Uh, and I decided as an experiment that I would play 5 games from one of the systems every day to see if there are some hidden gems in there. So very quickly, I just want to give you my first 5. Have you tried any of these systems yourself? Because I know you have a Switch.
I do. I forget that I'm still subscribed to the base one. It's like
Right.
20 quid a month that has like the NES. And I've picked up a couple of like the major hits on them. I played Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong Country at one point. And Metroid Prime. Like the stuff that still holds up to this day. Like
Right.
pretty
This is what
critically
inspired
noted.
the kind of the great experiment, which is like there must be like 60 or 70 titles on here, right? So there's got to be like a gem in here somewhere that no one has discovered because it's hidden so well.
Okay.
I mean, anything's possible. Now, I apologize. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the first 5 I covered, and I apologize that the screenshots I'm sending are sideways. So, just, I don't know, turn your phone sideways. Listeners, you'll get nothing out of this. I apologize. So, I'm just going to send you a photo, and I want you to tell me what you think you are looking at. It should be arriving just now. What does this look like to you? It's in the Nerd to Know chat.
Oh well, Kian, what you have sent me is a screenshot of a Donkey Kong, of a Donkey Kong with ropes.
You
Is
have
this
not
Donkey Kong
given
2?
it yet.
What?
Welcome to Donkey Kong Mats.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing it now. Yeah, it's a set of Donkey Kongs. There's a Donkey Kong with a hammer up on the top platform, a Baby Kong climbing the ropes, and some of the ropes do have numbers. Oh, and I'm seeing the subtraction addition signs on the bottom. Yeah.
I could not, because like I picked from the first line. I could not believe this. If you ever wanted Countdown and Donkey Kong mixed together, this is it. And I'd barely call it a game because basically it conjures up a number like 45 and it has the pluses and minuses on little islands down the bottom. And you have to find the correct numbers and add them or multiply or divide them together to win. And at least where I started, the other monkey doesn't even try. So it's basically a calculator with slightly elevated stakes.
It's a calculator where Donkey Kong presides over you like some sort of hammer of judgment.
Yeah. Anyone who says that this generation of games is the worst, this used to qualify as a birthday present for someone.
and that was a cartridge. We didn't have the internet wasn't a thing. This was your birthday present, and you played this for the year.
And you learned it. You played it inside and out. Oh my god. I'm going to cover the second one quickly because we already had a bit of a laugh about it in the chat last night. But golf.
Yeah, Lee Carvello's pudding challenge.
Yeah, it is pretty much just a golf game, and its main selling point, if you can call it that, is the fact that it's really bad. It's got that thing from like Wario Land 3 where you have to like hit a barometer going up and down twice, and inevitably you just get stuck in sand somewhere and try for 15 minutes and give up on life. One of those.
In the beauty and glory of 8 pixels.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Lee Carvello's pudding challenge. At least it had audio dialogue in it.
Somebody to tell you that your golf ball is in the car park.
Right. For the third one, I'm going to send you the cover picture, and then I want you to tell me what you think you're expecting, because there is a divide. Could you describe the image I've just sent?
No, he sent me. It's a game called Cobra Triangle, and it's a very like for like a what I'm assuming this is Nintendo. This is old. This is the original NES. Is it?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, all of these are from NES.
Yeah. For the NES standards, like a very detailed dragon coming out of the sea and like licking the behind of a speedboat.
So, what do you think this game will involve?
I mean, if I have to take it out of like what I'm looking at, I'd imagine you're probably on a boat, outrun style, trying to like escape or dodge a dragon.
Okay, I will send you the correct image now. I will say, Kev was pretty close, You are a little boat, like the ones you see in in American TV shows where like Stuart Little or whatever. What are those like radio controlled boats? And you are helicoptered in, and then you have to fight other boats and seagulls and fly over ramps and stuff. It's actually quite charming. This is the first game I actually enjoyed. Uh, and you have to like drag away mines and stuff. This is the one of the only ones that like I really kind of got invested in, other than for the sake of this. Uh, for the next one, Kev is going to have to bust out his presumably existent Japanese, because this game, the title gives you no hints. Can you look at this and tell me what you think it's going to be?
At no point did I ever claim to actually know Japanese. I cannot stress this enough. I do not. I told you in confidence at the start of the episode. I do not. If it was a Japanese word written in the English alphabet, I can make a confident guess at pronunciation.
No, but don't you worry, because push start button, high score, and the trademark are in English.
Yeah, no, you can confidently say that Sun Electric Core made whatever this is, but whatever this is remains a mystery.
But so you've got no idea what it's going to be when you open it. That's what I'm getting at.
The kanji looks like it is made of rocks, so I'm going to guess some sort of rock climbing.
To be fair, I've sent like an image now. It is actually quite cute. Whatever, I can't recommend it because I don't know what it's called. But basically, you are just a little guy walking around. Evil, once again, evil birds. Weird theme. Keep trying to take you out. You pick up treasure chests. You keep jumping across platforms. It's the first, that and the Cobra thing are the closest things to games I came across. And if you have the Nintendo thing, and you find a game that has no clues as apart from being written in Japanese, that might be the one. I'll send you a last one now just to wrap up. This one, I don't have the title in front of me, but I think it was called Echo Hawk. Anyway.
Okay, now this does just look like Outrun. You've just sent me Outrun. He looks like an American football player on a motorbike.
Yeah. And this is the first one that had plot. Because it tells you when you open the screen, the world has been taken over, and it shows you like a map of America, and only you, such and such commander, can save the day. And then you're immediately put on a bike and you're driving down a road. And the mechanic is you have a rear view mirror where you can see like the other drivers trying to kill you, coming to get you. But every time you try and dodge, a second one comes out of nowhere and runs you off the road. So it felt the most like a game, but it was also incredibly infuriating.
It is such an early 80s like trope.
You could see this in like an arcade, like, you know, like very.
Yeah, the only way to save the world is to drive your motorcycle across the United States of America.
I do apologize. I was planning on having all the titles open, but I also promised my daughter I'd level up her Dragonite so that she could finish her Pokedex before she starts school. She has one Pokemon left to get, and it's a Dragonite evolving from a Dragonair. So I do apologize that this is encroaching on my journalistic integrity, but parental needs must.
Pokemon gotta get there. You gotta catch them all.
Exactly, gotta catch them all. But
so what I'm understanding then, Kian, is that Donkey Kong Mats will in fact be your game of the year.
Yes, well, I mean, having kind of gotten a surface level, like, what is your impression of the early Nintendo like game system based on? Bear in mind, I did not randomize. These are the top 5 on the Switch page that opens. Now, I know they're not like putting any priority order. I know because the Yoshi games are down the bottom, but presumably they were willing to let this game system live and die on the first 5 or 6 titles. So what do you think based on that? Like,
what I think is that these might have been in alphabetical order, Kian.
Well, that's a clue. Yeah, but I suppose Donkey Kong is D. Do you really? Is it simple as that? Simple alphabetical order.
That's it. That's my best guess because because it would be insane for them if they were doing it by any sense of popularity to not have the original Super Mario Bros. At the top of this NES list.
Well, that
Or
says a lot
Duck
about me that I
Hunt,
didn't
even.
figure this out.
No, like that's listen. I was not. I was not alive when this console was on the market. So this is beyond my scope of like what a game can be.
Yes.
And like it is. You know what? We wouldn't have Final Fantasy 14 without these. So they get my salute, but they can stay in the 1980s. I think
Well,
I'll take a game
fair,
with at
actually.
least 16 pixels.
One of the games that inspired some of the Final Fantasy, I think, Earthbound. All of the Earthbound games are on here. So like there like this in the Cobra thing. There are like nuggets of gold if you're willing to search.
Nah, hold on. That's the Super Nintendo. That's an actual games console we're talking about here. That's got twice as many graphics as this one.
Extra pixels.
That's all it needed, my guy.
But this
But no, I think like this.
Yeah.
But no,
But
this is the era of games that like the original Final Fantasy and the original Dragon Quest came up on.
Yes, but this did make me feel nostalgic because my first game, anything, was a Game Boy, and a lot of the Game Boy games were just ports of these kind of things, like the racing and Tetris and all that. And I just remember at the age of 6 or 7 having much more patience for this kind of game than I would nowadays. Because I have a Netflix of games on here, and I cannot stomach some of these for more than 10 minutes at a time. I gave the Donkey Kong thing a decent half an hour waiting for it to become a game. And alas, my efforts were in vain.
Yeah, no, we are spoiled. We are spoiled nowadays. If it's not in 4K, I don't want to see it.
Get this pixel crap out of my face.
Okay, boomer. But that is going to be our time for this episode. Thank you. I await with bated breath what more nuggets you'll find in
I'm
the
gonna
Nintendo
just send
mind.
screenshots during the week because I want your in-time reactions. If you can hang on about 20 seconds and Dara edits this out, I will find the name of the disgraced bike game. Because like it was such a bizarre thing because it was a real game. It just felt like on level 1 unreasonably difficult because you had to watch the road and also look in the rear view mirror with bikes coming at you, aiming for you.
Yeah, but that's because these.
It's just like
that's
this is
because
just a
these.
stressful time.
Yeah, but that's because they had to be unreasonably difficult because these cartridges had like 8 kilobits of memory, and if you could beat the game with any reasonable difficulty, it would take you 20 minutes at most.
I can confirm, looking through this, that this is not in alphabetical order.
Damn. Okay, then it's just then Nintendo are just spinning a wheel because that's insanity.
So I covered the top 5 like just games available. Cobra Triangle. I guess maybe triangle is mistranslated because it's a boat, not a triangle. Donkey Kong Junior Math. Golf Entertainment System, because back then games didn't need names. Mac Rider and something Japanese in which on the cover a very angry beekeeper looking guy is throwing dynamite at a very startled fish. And I apologize. Let me just read the Mac Rider. In the year 2112, the Earth has been invaded by evil forces. Journey to the neighboring sectors, destroying invaders. You are, quotes, Mac Rider, exclamation point. And then you die immediately. This was games back then.
Kian, there's nothing else I can say. I think that is as high a note to go out on as anything.
Thank you for indulging me. I do apologize you didn't get to your Weird Al movie.
The plugs. You can check us out on our website at nerdtoknowmedia.com. You've been Kian, and I've been Mac Rider.
and we've been suffering, apparently. You with your Mean Girls not singing, and me with my retro games that have aged poorly.
And we will see you right back here with it all again next week.
Alright, so you're listening to the podcast, you're like, hey, I'm not in Ireland, how do I get in touch? Well, TuneIn has you covered. That's how you can check us out live when we're on the radio. You go to TuneIn and download the app, or you can check out the live streams on nerdtoknowmedia.com or Phoenix 92.5 FM. If you want to get in contact with us, it's very easy. Nerd to Know Media everywhere. Nerd to Know Media on Twitter, Nerd to Know Media Instagram, Nerd to Know Media on Twitch, Nerd to Know Media at gmail.com if you want to reach out via email. Hope to hear from you soon. Check out the Wrestling Rewind here on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And of course over on nerdtoknowmedia.com, the only wrestling podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.